Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo! Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody, where today we're taking a look at this beautiful lady, Dr. Beverly Crusher, who might not only be the hottest mom in Star Trek history, but could actually be very useful in armadas. Now, obviously, as you can see, she's available for sale. I am not here to tell you that you should buy her or not buy her. Buying both these packs, which are limited to one each, obviously, would get you to about tier 2.5. I'm not here to tell you whether or whether not to. What I will tell you, though, is how she works and explain it. Gotta give a shout out real quick to Omicron 007, who has provided the logs, because I don't have her fully unlocked yet, but provided it so we could go through the math today and talk about how this beautiful lady works, and if she does, and if she's great, and if she is, what do we do with her? And the answer is simple. Dominate. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that towards the end of the video, like crews and things to go out with. Let's start first with a little bit of a whoop-de-doo. So kind of like a semi, I don't want to call it a mix-up or a problem, but maybe a little bit of a description error here. So if you click on the pack, and then you click here, it says 200% of total officer health restored to SHP every round when fighting hostiles and armadas. I want to make sure we clarify exactly what that means. That is shield health. And you'll find in the officers tab menu, it is reworded a slightly different way so that it's not as confusing. But that SHP is talking about shield health. I had a player come to me earlier wanting to, talk about how it was similar to Leslie and how did that really, affect the health regeneration. It is shield health. Here you can see when fighting hostiles and armadas, Beverly Crusher's restored shield health each round equal to 200% of the health of the officers on the ship. So a little bit of a, I don't want to say clerical error, just, hey, chalk that up to things that have different descriptions in different places. Yeah, well, it is what it is, I guess. But anyway, let's go ahead and use this as an opportunity to start talking about the officer. Let's talk about this captain's maneuver. When fighting hostiles and armadas, restore shield, extra amount per officers, etc. So this is basically Spock, but as a captain. Cool. Secondary ability is the Unshakable Moral Code. When fighting hostiles and armadas, increases armor, shield deflection, and dodge by 150% of all the defense of all the officers on the ship. That is basically Zhao, or Joe, for those of you who just don't remember who I'm talking about because I like to mispronounce him. Anyway, Zhao. So we got first, do no harm, which is a 200% shield regen. Now remember, this is going to be greater with synergy. Now shout out to our friends at LCARS, of course, as always, because they've got all this stuff stored out in their little bot. So I don't want to use the word little because it's a pretty daggone big bot at this point. But they've got all that stuff in the bot. And the maximum you can get is 400% with full synergy. So yes, that's not as much as Spock. However, it is still enough to be effective for what we're talking about, especially on ships like the Stella and even on bigger ships with pretty large sizes of health stats that they can stack underneath the deck. So for example, if you get, 20,000, you're doing 200% of that, you're doing 400,000, 40,000 regen. I mean, it matters. So let's talk about this as a whole in terms of logs. And as I said, Omicron was kind enough to provide us some of those logs. So we'll throw up the first one here. This is going to be our test run. So this is using 5 of 10 Kirk Spock, a very, very common armada loadout for the Eclipse armadas. All right, so now we got this on the screen because the first part I didn't have it on the screen. There it is. We've got the battle log here from, as I said, Omicron was kind of, this one goes 26 rounds. And you can see that it takes about half hull, goes down to 275, but goes 26 total rounds here. Now we can see a few things. We're going to do a mitigation measurement. So we're going to take the damage that it's receiving to get an idea of how much it's being, or how much you're mitigating. Remember, 5 of 10's captain's ability helping you with mitigation. So if we're going to do 42722 divided by 60,003. Now that is a critical, but 71.19. Basically, we're close to max mitigation, which is what you would expect. And shields are going to stay up because of Kirk Spock. The only drawback here is you're not really getting any extra attack boost or anything, because when you run Kirk Spock, you're running Kirk Spock together to do one thing. That's give you morale and keep the shields up with Spock. Now you're getting that advantage in one officer in Beverly Crusher. So we'll just skip to sort of the end here. You You can see, we'll run a quick math for here on this mitigation just to make sure, because it was a critical, and that can sometimes be slightly different. 28534, bam, right the exact same. So that's just good numbers. It's 71.2, which is right at max. So we're going to bring in this log right here. Now that is the continuation log, so I think it's this one. All right, so this is our run set. Now this is running, keeping 5 of 10 for that loot bonus, which is going to be very, very desirable for a lot of people. Then throwing in Con, so we get a critical bonus, and then running her abilities with shield regen and the overall growth of mitigation, overall use of mitigation. So first point you want to see is in this log, you do see shields are gone, however, more hull health. So her ability as a shield regen is not as strong as Spock. Remember, Spock max is 750%. She is only doing 200% here. However, that is enough to help reset at the end of the rounds. And you'll notice that at the end of this battle log where it resets just enough to where, look, it doesn't matter if you've got 1% shield or if you've got 100% shield. It does the same amount of shield negation to the damage that's remaining. So let's go ahead and run this out. So this should get the exact same rewards. And now we'll look at this. So let's do 21,985 divided by 3879, 71.19. So we're getting the exact same mitigation numbers here. Remember, we're using Stellas in this instance, so you're going to get a lot of those piercing boosts and everything for fighting Eclipse Armadas, but you're going to see similar results of success in regular Armadas as well. Now, that secondary amount is really close to what you're going to get from 5 of 10, and as you level her up, she gets even better. Remember, show that screenshot from LCARS. Just if you get her to tier 2, it's a 200%, which is exactly what we're used to seeing from 5 of 10. Then you get her to tier 3, 250, then it goes 300 and 350%. So a pretty decent number when it comes to mitigation and the percentage that it's operating off of and how it's affecting or using the damage to really make it better, or using the defensive stat. I said damage. Ignore that random stupidity.
What? What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
So anyway, you see it being effective here, and then it goes down. We're also getting a little bit more power when we hit criticals here. You see the better shots, and by the probably round 3 or 4, we're going to see it to where we're getting mostly critical shots. So there we go, more criticals, more criticals, more criticals than we have non-criticals. So we're almost getting every critical here, and we're still in round 5. And this one only goes 16 rounds. So now that we're hitting more criticals, we're doing more damage. And this isn't even the max way to do this. So for one thing I would do is say if I was running versus a normal Armada, this is obviously versus an Eclipse Armada, I would probably do Beverly Crusher 6 of 10, and then maybe Khan or another officer type like Ash Tyler. Depends on how organized your group is when it comes to running support teams. But this is something that we talk about running Kirk, Spock, Khan, just because it's so overdone. Beverly Crusher can become that new thing where she's essentially taking 2 officer types and combining it into one. Now, it's not individually as strong as either one. Like, she's not individually as strong as a Max Zhao or strong as a, full synergy 5 of 10. But you don't need full synergy 5 of 10. She's also not as strong at shield regen as Spock. But that's okay. You don't need it to be that strong. Let's get at the end of this log. And you see shield depleted, but then we're going to get a little bit of heal right here. Bam, round 16, we got shields again. Remember, it does not matter 1% or 100%. If she can keep that shield refreshing, then she's going to limit the amount of hull damage you take. And all that was done here, the below deck officers are the same. The percentages for these ships are the same. The only difference here is the crew loadout and the captain's maneuvers from the bridge. Everything else was identical for these 2 Stellas, yet 2 vastly different outcomes, because that's how good she can be for Armadas and even for solo or as a group play. And my favorite thing about this is I think she's going to be a very good group card. Now, is she amazing? Not amazing, because she is still a rare card. There are still some limitations, and there are ways to do things a little bit better. Like Leslie, for going as top as you can for solo, is still probably going to be better. But in terms of having the ability to function as a solo run for your Armada ship or even good in groups, this now gives you more maneuverability, which I really, really like. And it's a good officer. Once again, I'm not telling you to spend $100 or $150 to unlock her, but If you get her, you will enjoy her, and she will help your armadas and help you have success. And now you know how she works. And if you appreciate that, hit that like button. Looks like this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that join button if you want to support the channel monetarily every month, or donate through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. We'll take anything, because look, we're trying to raise for the house fund. Remember, everybody, we're trying to get a house. $20 or more gets your name on the wall in the house, which is a pretty cool feature. We're on the way. Appreciate everybody. Live long and prosper. Stay safe with our Space Cowboys. We'll catch you on the next one.
I would like to request to Scopely to add more Klingons to the game. That is what I was told to do, and so I am doing it. Which, you know, is not maybe the best thing as a leader to just do what you're told, but it seems like a good request to make, to add more Klingons. Everything is better with Klingons, am I right? I am right, because I'm a Klingon. Klingon mach tach judge! We are Klingons, let it remain. All right, Laurel's on a roll today. She's very excited.
An even better outro than the intro. Yeah!